Good morning. Welcome back. This is Arona, and once again, I'm going to spend some time with Sleep Token because, as I kind of made an announcement in my last video, Sleep Token is officially my first fixation, music fixation of this channel. I started about 3 months ago. And as I introduced myself in one of my very, very first, I think it's a short, I am on the spectrum, and my fixations my entire life since I was 9 years old have been music centered. And so when I started this channel, I was just basically looking for a different strategy for discovering new artists, new music that I personally had never heard before. So not necessarily brand new artists or current, just music that I hadn't heard before that touched my soul in some way. And I've been discovering some amazing music just in the last few months. And I am just super deep into Sleep Token right now. So, yeah, awesome. First fixation. So I've done a full album appreciation for Take Me Back to Eden. However, after spending a lot of time with the first two albums, I knew I wanted to go back and do another couple of videos like that. But I feel like once I get through Sundowning and This Place Will Become Your Tomb, I'm going to have just a whole new perspective and a whole new series of thoughts for Take Me Back to Eden. So I don't think I'll do a complete full album Take Me Back to Eden listen, but I will have some new comments, kind of some evolved thoughts past what I was able to glean from just that one listen, because as you all know, if you are fans of Sleep Token, you got to take some time. And it is very pleasurable to take the time to just explore and listen very deeply and think about the lyrics. And so on that note, I'm going to try something a little different this time. I am going to listen to each song, and I think while I'm listening to it, I'm going to focus on the music, and then after each track, I'm going to go through the lyrics quickly, not read them to you, but maybe make a few comments about what is speaking to me, what is in my head about what's going on. So this will be one of those videos. I'll try not to ramble too much, but I'll have some things to say about maybe what the picture that the songs are painting for me personally, which I know is going to be very subjective based on my own emotions, what's in my head, what's in my own life experience, which to my understanding is the whole point of creating this incredible music. So I think that's about it. So let's just get into the first track of Sundowning, The Night Does Not Belong to God. So just a couple of seconds into this album, and we have a devastatingly beautiful melody over top of those tinny kind of ethereal bell kind of sounds. It just sets this mood and this tone of, I don't know, we're going to be looking back a little bit. We're going to be looking in a little bit. And I just love how it sets it, because the tone itself isn't super dark. It's not super moody yet, but it is, setting you up for something that's not going to be some little thing. It's going to take you somewhere.
And you remember everything, only till the sun recedes once again, and the night comes down like heaven. The night comes down like heaven. The night comes down like
So that build to that part there, that whole section, it sounds really positive to my ears. It sounds, I wouldn't say joyous, but definitely like a breath, letting out a sigh, like finally night has arrived, or whatever the sentiment is here. It feels positive, it's not, we haven't been plummeted into the depths yet.
Sounds like in the low light, in turning divine, we tango endlessly, like lovers entwined. I know for the last time you will not be mine, so give me the night.
Okay, so when the music drops out, it kind of forces you obviously to focus in on the lyrics, and what it feels like to me is kind of, for a few seconds, they let you get lost in kind of this positive groove, pretty uplifting chords. And then we're brought back, with a change. And then once we've been gripped with a couple of words, reorienting us, then we have that creeping back in of the notes and the build where it's going right now. It's like constantly reminding you to not lose awareness of what's going on. Don't just sit back and be passive as the music is progressing. It's always changing, and it's always reminding you, like, this is not a passive listening experience. It's just, you just can't it's impossible to be that. with that reintroduction of the kind of positive uh, groove, that positive chorus, that refrain, it reintroduced it, but now it has some of those much lower into the bass frequencies that is punctuated. It's not constant like it was before. Those bass frequencies are kind of punching in and out. Plus, you have that more melancholy harmony underneath that wasn't there before. So I love how that just changes the tone. But it works in seamlessly from that quiet and then the slow build to those little innocent tones, the tinny tones that I talked about, and then up. So already it's just there's a lot going on, and this is a really awesome song to introduce the album with. So I'll try not to take forever. I'm going to edit it, obviously, but I'm going to look up the lyrics to review those real quick, and kind of give you my thoughts on what's going on here. Also, I've been using metalkingdom.net for looking at lyrics and stuff. It seems like a pretty awesome source. If there's any other like official source or sources that you guys like for looking at lyrics that are, you feel like are really, accurate, totally leave them in the comments for me. Okay. So obviously Sundowning research that term a little bit because it's one of those things, words that you've heard, but you might not be familiar with what it's actually talking about. From what I understand, the biggest connotation is with mental decline in terms of dementia and this phenomenon where that fogginess and confusion tends to get a little worse in parallel with the sun going down. It's called sundowning. So there's a lot of allusions to the subject, I guess, going kind of in and out of lucidity. And, Vessel's lyrics in the story is kind of expressing how that really feels. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to try not to ramble, but I'm probably going to. And you remember everything only till the sun recedes once again. The whites of your eyes turn black in the low light, which comes back later lyrically, of course. I think in the latest album it points back to these first lyrics in this first song, which is awesome. So I think the biggest signal as far as giving you a taste of what might be going on as far as a tangible story is his expressing, we tangle endlessly like lovers entwined. I know for the last time you will not be mine, so give me the night, the night, the night. So it's like the night is a consolation for the fact that he can no longer have what he used to have, the main object of his desire, maybe. You will not be mine, so give me the night. The night comes down like heaven. So the night is a refuge. It sounds like. And obviously, the voice, I'll call the voice like the one singing. Obviously, we could say vessel as well, but I like the idea of kind of not pinpointing it or personalizing it to the figure vessel. We can kind of consider the voice in every person. Maybe that, to me, that kind of helps it be more accessible in terms of the feelings that are going on. I try to like internalize and personalize the emotions to try to put myself in that position. So it's easier for me if I just think of it in my head like this is the voice going through this. and it could very well be any other voice. So yeah, trying to look at it with just this song and not thinking about all these other tracks that have given hints, like just this song so far, say this is the first time listening to it. Right now, I'm like thinking, okay, so the voice has a significant presence in their life, whether it's a lover or not. Sounds like a lover or someone, an intimate partner, something like that. And it's not super clear whether or not they actually exist in a tangible sense, but there's a history that has been taken away, and the voice is lamenting that while also running toward the night in a kind of refuge from always being aware of what he's lost. Maybe. And then there's more concrete parallel to that person or that entity that he's lost. Maybe it's not that they're completely lost, but if they have lost in terms of their mental acuity, maybe they are suffering from a mental state where they go in and out of lucidity. And can you imagine the pain of having someone you love in your life who has Alzheimer's? I've not personally been through that, but tons of people have. I can't even imagine what it would be like to only have them with you in that true sense, part of the time. And then that part of the time gets smaller and smaller over time. And that echoes back to the the repeated refrain that the band refers to all the time in terms of nothing lasts forever. So just with that one track, we've already got a lot to sink our teeth into. All right, next track is The Offering.
You are a garden entwined with all. You are the silence on sacred shores. You've got diamonds for teeth, my love. So take a bite of me just once. I want to turn the page once again. Oh, take a bite.
I love this incredible switch up. He goes, like, when he's singing in that high kind of vulnerable noise in the voice, and the music fades a little bit, and it just sounds so vulnerable, and just naturally in that tone of voice it sounds gentle, vulnerable, pleading. It's definitely pleading, like, this is what I want, and then immediately drops back down into the bringing the bass back in, and then it pulls out the intensity, and we get the more growly, you take a bite. It goes from this high pleading kind of tone, and then it goes back down to please, like begging. So, and the music supports that and makes it so much more intense.
This is again an offering in your favor, a sacrifice in your name. But I know you've got to say so. Just take a bite of me. Turn the page once take a bite.
Again, you just get lost in the switching up between the vulnerability, and there's almost a stoic nature to, you think of someone who ritually goes to church or makes an offering or conducts a ritual, something that you do all the time that is obligatory in your paradigm of what you believe in and stuff. So routine is another word that comes to mind. Like, you go through motions, and some days you feel it more than others, but it still is like an obligation to you. And it's like some of these moments in the songs, especially in this song, especially in the beginning, where you have a more positive, groovy kind of routine, not routine, but it's it's superficial in terms of emotion, and much more on the positive. Like, I am giving of myself, I'm giving this offering. It is what's expected, and then it just goes from that high pleading, plummets you down, and then we're into this super like desperate pleading. And it's like, to me, I can feel a parallel with someone who is going through the motions in church, but deep down inside, ironically, in church, they don't feel comfortable expressing how much they maybe don't feel what they're supposed to be feeling. You know, you see some people having experiences in their day-to-day life, not just in church, but with their spiritual lives, and maybe they're expressing it on the internet, and you might feel this jealous kind of resentment towards people who are having experiences, when deep down you have this desire and this emptiness, or this desire that you can't express to people because they might, it would be off-putting. You're not, in a lot of people's circles, especially in families, it's not always an open kind of relationship between people in the family where you would be accepted for expressing more unsettling desires, more desperate or dark desires, begging for whatever presence is there to take a bite out of you, or whatever that's supposed to mean. I've been listening. I still can't really wrap my mind around exactly what it is that the voice wants when he's talking about wanting to have a bite taken out of him. Like, obviously there's over and over and over again an allusion to the jaws and the teeth and bite and pain. And it's like, is it the pain to remind him he's alive? Is it the pain to knock him off of this really, really painful focus that he has on what he's lost? What is the bite? It's driving me crazy. But yeah, maybe a new idea will just pop up when I'm listening to these songs again. So again, sorry, we'll get into the lyrics after the song, but musically, that's how it's hitting me. Like this movement from, here is this offering, and my mental state is of awe and positive enlightenment, appreciation, whatever stuff that you're supposed to see. And then in the background you have this just absolute plummet into abyss, like, please effing show me that you're here. Yeah. Okay, so this is a giving, an offering in your favor, a sacrifice in your name. So again, the lyrics also, in line with the music, introduce this as coming from a place initially of stability, and then slowly losing that stability throughout the song to this, lower, desperate level. In your favor, a sacrifice in your name. Sounds like it come from a gospel song. But I know you've got a taste, so just take a bite of me. Like, what does it mean? You are a garden entwined with all. You are the silence on sacred shores. There's this omnipresence to, whatever the object is here, much like, Western God. Diamonds for teeth. I don't know. My arms belong around you, which personalizes it again. So I think the biggest thing that I'm like trying to struggle with and figure out is like this: are there multiple objects here? There's, the deity omnipresent, a garden entwined with all, and then there's this very human presence talking about, love, lust, all the things for, you wouldn't really usually attribute to a deity you're worshiping. That would be a more human interaction. So that's interesting. Unless the unless this omnipresent deity figure is of the night and it's the refuge away from that human presence, which seems to be equal parts bringing pleasure and bringing suffering. Maybe a whole lot more suffering than joy most of the time. Okay. Next track. Levitate. Oh my god. The melody in this is just... Oh, there's a video.
And I can lift you up. Your body is mostly blood, like water, a perfect flood, engulfing me again. No.
Okay, so when I heard that the first time, it was just crushing because again, just looking at the songs, this album, this song in the order, we've only heard a couple songs. This song is the first one that very clearly alludes to death, not only in the sound of the music, it's a very melancholy sound, but also, the lift you up, your body is mostly blood. I don't know. It sounds like a freshly passed human being. What if it's someone that the voice loved and has just passed or is in the process of going? But yeah, just those first 30 seconds or so with those words and that music, it's just devastatingly sad and beautiful at the same time.
And I can tell you won't remember my cracking bones, the trauma we can't regrow, just as you leave again. Will you levitate up where the angels inhabit? Will you levitate where I won't reach you? And we imitate a story of perfect days, a ballad we fabricate as you forget your words again. No. And is that all you need to merely pretend to be? For
on the one hand, talking about the lyrics about, will you levitate up where I can't reach you? It sounds to me that's like, a person who has just lost someone and they're musing about, where did they go? Why aren't you here with me? Are you going to leave me and go up and be where I can't reach you? Will you levitate? But at the same time, everything else in the lyrics and alludes to this subject taking human actions, or there are behaviors that are being observed. So you have this person who's only remembering some of the time. So what is being brought out even more is this idea that levitate itself has a connotation that assumes they're coming back. Like, you levitate for a little bit and you come back down. So it's like going back to Sundowning and dementia, like the remembrance of their life together goes in and out. And that's the most tragic part that has come out in this song, again, a little more clearly, is that the person who is suffering from, remembering and then not remembering, going in and out of remembering their life together. Like, this is two people that once had an exquisite love. At least in hindsight, everybody's lost loved ones was a perfect relationship, right? You don't remember the bad when you're remembering a loved one so much as torturing yourself with what you've lost in terms of, everything was so great, it was so perfect. You forget about all the fights, you forget about, the suffering that also went on. But anyway, not to meander too far off, yeah, it's so tragic in the lyrics, because to me it's the voice is talking about this person only remembers what we had some of the time, and then in those somewhat lucid moments they can even almost fall in love with me again, forgetting the agony of what's actually going on, the reality that, well, no, I only kind of have you some of the time, and it's not even real, because you don't actually remember because of the whatever disease is happening in the brain to, take all those memories away. And that is just, again, devastating. This is just devastatingly sad. Let's see, was there anything else in the lyric? Okay, so not to jump ahead, but I can tell you won't remember my cracking bones, the trauma we can't regrow, just as you leave again. So in future tracks, I know that I heard lyrics that kind of painted a picture of a scene of, these two individuals being in a trauma center at a hospital, maybe after a really bad accident. And the trauma in my mind, like, that's, both of them are really, really hurt. And maybe that's where the object in this song picked up, their head injury and whatever it was that took away their mental capacity. Will you levitate? Will you levitate? So yeah, again, that's just the picture that I'm getting so far. All right, the next track is Dark Signs. I just say a lot of the sounds in the introduction of this track reminds me of Enigma, like one of my favorite musical entities of all time, especially the I don't know what to call it. It's one of the drums, the punctuating drum there. It sounds ancient. Yeah.
Where I was raised, there wasn't no street lights, just pitch black and passing headlights. Where we met, there must have been dark signs, omens in your skies. Most days you reach for safety, remain calm, forget that you know me. When we met, I could see dark signs, alarm bells in your eyes. And I miss the man I was, the moment we left off. And I hate who I have become. Every time I wake up, and if you saw the marks on my dashboard, the new scars that I didn't ask for, would you call asking for answers? Tear my arms off. Most days you reach for safety, remain calm, forget that you know me. No, when we met, I could see dark signs, alarm bells in your eyes. And I miss the man I was, the moment we left off. And I hate who I have become. Every time I wake up, and I miss the man I was, the moment we left. And I hate who I have become. Every time I wake up,
All right, so probably one of my favorite songs on this album. Suddenly we are thrown into much more of the hip hop, dark dance music kind of vibe here. And the song itself just kind of gives me a much even darker introspective feel to it. Even the, obviously the title itself, Dark Signs. And this is where I was completely thrown. at this point in the album, because suddenly, lyrically, I see this completely other, divergent possibility for what the lyrics are alluding to and expressing. And basically it has to do with his own duality and his own mind. So in this one, I the lyrics to me, like, he's talking to something within himself. So we don't have the human object of desire, we don't have the deity object. Now it's just him in his own mind. And so, I mean, okay, let me where we met, there must have been dark signs, omens in your skies. Most days you reach for safety, remain calm, forget that you know me. And when we met, I could see dark signs, alarm bells in your eyes. Okay, so to me, the voice is talking about the moment when he lost part of himself, maybe because of the traumatic events that have happened, or the one event that has happened. He kind of split his personality, and now he's talking to the one that he lost, or maybe the one that he created to cope with what else is going on in his life. And again, not to meander or go too far in the future, part of that to me in future lyrics kind of brings to mind that entity or that part of himself being a lost inner child sensibility, you know, the place of innocence that is lost once you know you're going to die. Or I feel like I just heard that quote from somebody. I can't remember who said it originally, but you know, you lose that child, you know, the kind of inner child or the childlikeness in you the moment you know you're gonna die. But yeah, if you saw the marks on my dashboard, the new scars that I didn't ask for, would you call asking for answers tear my arms off? So yeah, in that traumatic event, he became someone else, and now he's like hearkening back to who he used to be. I miss the man I was the moment we left off, like the moment that he stopped being that person that he misses and became someone new that he hates now. I might break and bend in my basic need to be loved and close to somebody. I miss the man I was the moment we left off, and I hate who I have become every time I wake up. I could see dark signs when we met. Again, I could be completely wrong, but I might break and bend in my basic need to be loved and close to somebody. It feels like the voice has been in a situation with the love of his life who is damaged mentally, and sometimes he misses some of the basic things, human needs that he used to get, feeling close to somebody that he feels the need to move on, maybe, and he feels like a monster because of that. Yeah. That's what I got anyway. Next track is Higher.
You say you won't begin again. Capitulate and let me in, 'cause I am a fire. And you are dry as bone. You are taking your time. You are killing me slow, and I know go back and forth, lacerate, 'cause you can remember only when you're alone. I am granting you more than the debt that I owe, 'cause I look for scarlet and you look for ultraviolet. We are exhausted by all this pretending we just can't resist the violence. And you need the melody, I only need the silence. But each time we battle the blood and the fury takes us a little higher.
I just want to take a moment to appreciate how effing awesome that drum is with the guitars in the background, or together rather. Yeah, it's a stunning performance.
All that you believe, you still refuse to shelter me, as I am a danger, and you're a long way from home. You were one among many, but you're now on your own.
So, yeah, that one ends with the most intense pain, agony, anger, maybe. You know, the whole song just dropping into those super heavy, just doom, impending doom hits with the rhythm. And then the screaming, the debt that I owe. So, this song, too, hit me as opening up the possibility that my whole idea of this being a literal brain traumatic injury in the objects, in the partner, in the love object, whatever, it's not a literal, like a literal dementia. It's a metaphor for this kind of toxic relationship where this person, maybe on some subconscious level, chooses not to be engaged or remember or empathize when the voice needs that presence or is longing for that presence. And this is the anger coming out on the part of the voice, maybe. Looking a little bit closer at the lyric. You say you won't. So at the very beginning, it tells us, you know, this person or entity, whatever, that the voice is talking to, it's making a choice, a conscious choice with their mental faculties. I am a fire and you are dry as bone. You are taking your time. You are killing me slow. That to me suggests that the object is taking conscious actions that they're aware of. And it's, you know, maybe they're just not considering, or they don't care enough to realize that they are not feeding the fire the way that the fire needs, in whatever way. Some emotional intimacy connection is shut down, shut off, and the object has consciously done that. We instigate, go back and forth, lacerate. This is a fight. But then we have, because you can remember only when you're alone, I am granting you more than the debt that I owe. So then, yeah, that could be like you literally can't remember until, or only when you're alone, or you're choosing to ignore and only face the truth when you don't have someone challenging you. I am granting you more than the debt that I owe. So in his mind, he's putting up with a lot of shit.